Hello everyone, my name is Darina. Welcome to the last video of this year. I'm filming it with my new camera, which is DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and it's actually my first experience filming with it. Let me tell you what we're going to talk about today. This video feels a little bit special for me because it's the last video of the year, and actually today is the 25th of December. It's the Christmas day. Happy Christmas to everyone watching it, although I'll be posting it a few days later. I'm living in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and you can see that I'm not in any Christmas surroundings. That's because here in Argentina and in all the southern hemisphere, it's summer now, and actually it's pretty hot. Tonight we couldn't go to sleep for a long time because it was boiling in our apartment and it was hard to fall asleep. Throughout this year, I've been telling you a lot about my reading challenge. In all my vlogs, I've been mentioning it, telling about what I was reading, how it felt, how hard it was sometimes, and all this stuff. So in this video, I want to slow down a bit and sum up everything it gave me, what I read this year, and what I learned from my reading challenge. At the beginning of this year, 2025, I set myself a goal, a small challenge, to read 12 books in 1 year. 1 book per month. I know that for many book bloggers it does not sound as a challenge at all, but for me it truly was. As a teenager, I used to love reading a lot. I even was friends with the librarians at the school library. But then I entered the university and I studied English philology there, and it meant a lot of reading on schedule with analysis and stuff, and it all just gave me so much pressure and hatred towards reading. Because we had to read constantly and even without choosing what to read, reading itself became not a pleasure for me, but some kind of an obligation. After graduation in 2019, I stopped reading at all. And this challenge wasn't to break any records for me, but to rebuild my reading routine. So in this video, I'm going to tell you about the 12 books of this year, how they felt, what they are about. Don't worry, there will be no spoilers. I will tell you my own feelings or just some facts about the books that are not the secret. And the first book in my challenge was Conversation with Friends by Sally Rooney. I've also read her other book, Normal People, and I absolutely adore the series and the book itself, and I could say she is one of my favorite authors. So Conversations with Friends is a very intimate novel about relationships, about the messiness of being in your 20s and emotional dependency. I also watched the TV series adaptation of this novel, and I can say that it was very beautifully made, but some scenes felt especially uncomfortable for me reading and watching because they were telling about endometriosis, and I'm a very sensitive person, to be honest, and I imagine everything clearly. So that I could even feel what she was going through. It felt really honest, so I highly recommend this book. In February, I didn't have much time to read because I was traveling and spending time with my family in Russia. Instead of a full book, I read a short story. It's called The Husband's Stitch, and it's a short story from a book called Her Body and Other Parties. It's a modern and I would say very unsettling retelling of an urban legend. And the whole series is focused on women's bodies, consent, and silence. I could describe it as short, intense, and very memorable. Later in my trip to Russia, I started reading again, somewhere at the beginning of March, and I read Word Slut by Amanda Mantell. This is a non-fiction book about language, gender, and the way the words we use reflect power and inequality. It's witty, sharp, and very accessible. especially if you like linguistics a lot, but you don't really want to dive deep into it. Next book was by Becky and it's called A Psalm for the Wild-Built, and it actually was my first fantasy book. I know it's a very soft fantasy, and that's what I was able to read because I'm not really into this genre. This book actually felt like a pause in my challenge. It's a very gentle and I would say philosophical story. It's about rest, purpose, and the right of actually existing without having to always produce something. I would also say that it's kind of quiet, and that was what I actually needed at that moment. Next book was called All About Love. The author is Bell Hooks. This was one of the most meaningful books I read this year. It's not a romantic book. It's a deep and honest reflection on what love actually is, on how we learn it, and how difficult it can be. I read it slowly with many pauses for reflection, and I've been thinking a lot about it ever since. So we're coming close to the half of the year, and in June I was reading the book called Quiet, The Power of Being an Introvert by Susan Cain. But unfortunately, I read just the half of it and then I stopped. It's an interesting book about introversion, but at some point it felt repetitive to me, and the language was maybe too scientific when I actually wanted some rest and relaxation while reading. And this year I actually allowed myself not to finish a book if I didn't like it, because it's my challenge. I set the rules and I can break them too. Next book was Funny Story by Emily Henry. This was one of the lighter reads of the year. It's warm, emotional, and very human. It's about unexpected connections and starting over. It was very comforting, but still thoughtful. And here I want to mention that I've been reading all these books on my phone because I can't afford having my own library, even though I dream about it, and I hope one day I will be able to. But now, as I don't know where I'll be in a year or two, I will be very upset to have to throw away the books. That's why I'm reading on my phone actually, and I'm using the usual app Books on iPhone, and I set the goal there to read 12 books in a year. I will show it to you. And also it tracks the days that I'm reading. And this book, Funny Story, was my leader of the year because I've been reading it 33 days in a row, so the whole month of July, because I actually was really enjoying it, even though it's a lighter read. Next one was a book in French by Gavalda. It's called Je l'aimais, which could be translated like I loved him, I loved her. And it was not my first experience of reading in French, but I'm more used to reading in English, and reading in French wasn't really relaxing as I wanted it to be. It's a very intimate, dialogue-driven novel about love, regret, and choices we make or don't make. I also watched the film adaptation, and honestly speaking, this became one of my favorite films this year. Next two books coming are by Fredrik Backman. They are called Beartown and Us Against You. Here I had a small fuck up. I started reading Us Against You because I didn't know it's a series of novels, and Us Against You is the second part. But after 50 pages, I understood that something is off. And I actually Googled it and found out that it's the second book. But unfortunately, I spoiled myself the main twist in the story. Maybe it was for the better, because I think I would be astonished if I read it without knowing about it beforehand. If you know what I'm talking about, you understand me. I can say that now Fredrik Backman is one of my favorite authors. I've read A Man Called Uwe, Anxious People, and now this series. I know that there is one more book from the series about Beartown, and I'm going to read it next year. I also watched the series adaptation of the book, and to be honest, it completely missed the point of the book for me, so I don't recommend it. Then in November, it was my boyfriend's birthday, and I gave him a Kindle for his birthday, and now he's enjoying it and reading on it all the time. I decided to read on it too. So the book of November was by Beatriz Serrano. It's called Discontent. I enjoyed reading it on Kindle. It's a sharp and ironic reflection on modern work culture, burnout, and quiet dissatisfaction on adult life. I personally do not feel the same about my job, thanks God. I love my job, but I remembered myself working at a language school. I worked there for less than half a year, and I actually hated it. I didn't want to wake up every day. I didn't want to go there and to spend all my day. I didn't see any purpose. And then when I quit, I was the happiest person in the world. And my December read was by Catherine Angel. Tomorrow, Sex Will Be Good Again. Actually, I'm still reading it, to be honest, but I will finish it this week. It's a short and thoughtful essay about desire, vulnerability, and consent, and the way we talk about sex, especially from the female perspective. Yeah, as you noticed, I've read a lot of feminist books this year, and I don't regret it at all. Also, it's a shorter read, and I chose it because I was still finishing my previous book at the beginning of the month, and I really wanted to finish my challenge because at some point I thought I wouldn't be able to. But then I understood I can do that if I choose a shorter book for December. That's why I chose this one. So my main conclusion of this year's challenge is that reading shouldn't be impressive to actually matter. I actually have read 12 books. I know that I still haven't finished one of them, and I'm not going to. I forgive myself for that. I've read in English and in French. I read quite slowly, maybe 20 to 40 minutes a day only, and not every day. And the most interesting part about it is that my reading challenge influenced my boyfriend, and he has read 10 books this year, which is already much more than he read before. So next year I'm not planning to set any reading goals or challenges for myself. I made it this year just to get back to my reading routine, and I hope I will continue. But if at some point I feel like I need it, I will do it again. And honestly, having read 12 books in a year feels like a small personal success. Oh, and I think I will continue telling you about what I'm reading because it's a part of me and it's something I would like to share with you. So guys, thanks a lot for watching this video. Thanks to everyone who has been with me throughout the whole year, and I hope to post more next year. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in 2026. Bye!